Yeah. So
do you want to run that Kevin Hart clip? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can have a little chat. 'Cause I wanna touch on that as well. But just to say, like, Western project, I love it. It's dope.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy with the Kano project as well and Heady project. So I'm not mad dairies. Yeah, the one with Little Nas X.
Cool. Let's play it now.
Yeah.
And with all that early success, you felt it was important to make an announcement recently.
He said he was gay, so what?
Yeah, what's the point? So why did he feel that was necessary? It's not about who cares. That's actually my question. Why did he feel it was necessary to come out and say that?
It's not that like it's like being forced. It's just like knowing, like growing up, like I'm grown up to hate this shit. I'm not supposed to ever like this.
Hate what?
Homosexuality, gay
Why?
people. Come on now.
Why are you gonna?
If you're really from the hood, you know like it's not some. So it's like if for me, the cool dude with the song on top of everything to say this, any other time, like I'm doing this for attention in my eyes. But if you're doing this like while you're at the top, you know it's like for real, and it's like showing like it doesn't really like matter, I guess.
Exactly, it does.
There it is.
Just for context, that's LeBron James's shop on HBO, show called The Shop.
The Shop.
Where they sit in a barber shop and they debate with.
Is that the show where he said he was the hip hop historian?
Yeah, the one. Yeah. So that where they sit down and debate with different athletes, entertainers, actors, musicians. So that clip, Kevin Hart's in there. I think Charlemagne's in that one as well. But he's just not in that clip. But I think he's on that episode also.
Right.
Thoughts in the room off hearing that?
You know, when I saw the clip, I was in two minds about it. My first thought was, they kind of jumped him, to be fair. And the only reason why I'm going to be fair about this statement, there was a purpose as to why they got him on the show. And 100%, no matter what, it was a little bit, not underhanded, but they kind of like, look, you've got like 10 men who are going to try and stronghold you because you're a young guy in the game who is predominantly telling people, look, this is who I am, this is my sexuality, blah, 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 blah. And I've not announced it because I'm trying to do anything, because he was already at the top of his game. He didn't need anything else. He's just trying to let you know, he's trying to live his truth and be him. However, on the flip side, the reason why these conversations are important is that if he doesn't get in these platforms amongst these people and say it, unfortunately, he's going to have an issue where it's always going to be, people are always going to say, why did you make that announcement? Why did you make that announcement?
Oh, okay, so let me get in front of him. Let me get on like one of the biggest platforms.
Yes.
Talk about this. And I'd hope we don't have to justify why I came out as gay again.
Yes.
I get that stance. I saw it initially, and I'll be honest, I'm not even going to pretend, because I don't want to, like, everyone likes to act like they're holier than thou or they've never made mistakes. I was like, oh, what's the big deal? Then I watched it back again. And I was like, Kevin Hart to me on there seems drunk. I'll be real.
Yeah.
And he was doing that annoying thing where he's in the Kevin Hart media bag. I'm gonna speak a certain way. There's a tone where Kevin speaks and like he feels like to me he feels like he's being a bit of a robot, innit?
Yeah.
So he's giving a response which he thinks is what we want to hear, but in him giving a fake response, you reveal the real you. So when he says to Little Nas X like why, almost as if like you don't need to come out as gay. There's no problem. And like bro, you forgot. Did you not have the issue with the Oscars off the back of your old tweets where you said in jest at the time that if your son was gay, you would smash a dollhouse over his head. Now, Dave Chappelle's got a funny joke and was like, it doesn't even make sense because if you smash a dollhouse over his head, who the hell buys a son a dollhouse? That nigga was gay already.
But he's got a daughter as well, so.
Fair play, but the joke still bang. Maybe it sounds better coming from Dave Chappelle. Maybe my delivery wasn't as A1 as Dave's was, isn't it? But there was irony within that. And then forgetting that to a side, just the tweets itself, it was like, well, within how many years ago, you yourself had displayed traits where like you looked at being gay as something to be frowned upon. And I like Little Nas X's response, like, if you're really from the hood, because you say you're from Philly, you know. And it's ironic this conversation happening in a barbershop because for black women, and maybe women in general, but that's people we speak to and our listenership a lot, and black members of the LGBT community, from what I've read and conversations I've had, barbershops can be quite a daunting space to be in. I spoke last week about the Dave Chappelle thing about like, right, listen, sometimes man wants safe spaces to be trash. And a barbershop is one of them. But what's it like for everybody else who wants to come and get their hair done and it's quite toxic. And there's an irony that he's having that conversation in that same setting where in a lot of places he wouldn't be accepted if they knew he was gay.
See, and I get why people are outraged about what happened, because again, it feels like he's just been almost ganged up on. But in my head, here's what I'm thinking. And I always say, if you're looking to make change in these spaces, you have to talk in these spaces. I tell you this now, if you don't have these conversations here, you're not going to be able to highlight what the problem is. And at the end of the day, what you're trying to do is create safe spaces for anyone who, regardless of the sexuality or preference or whatever, can get in these spaces and talk without being ridiculed or
and
blah,
it's funny,
blah, blah,
man
blah.
sat in a room with, there's probably X amount of millionaires in there.
100%.
People would have had like say Van's publicists, people who would have trained them, and still within that, traits that are like innate to you from how you've been conditioned still seep out
straight away.
And that's funny. So I like what you're saying, that even in that setting there, and that's not your average barbershop, because the barbershops we go to don't look like that with the lights and all these extra antics and that. They're just normal spaces. Even that there, Donnie's real like feelings can still come out. And if I cut Kevin a bit of slack, I said he was trying to do the media thing, but he fucked up and he gave what's real. I think there was a time period where you coming out and doing a big announcement was a massive deal. It's still a big deal. I don't think it's as big. And I think it's not as big because it's becoming more normal. We're more accepted to the point where some people would even now start saying, oh, that's just like a media thing. My man's trying to get that community on his side. We're that skeptical of it now because...
But it's a good thing that he said.
No, it's a good thing.
That, like he said, if that was the case, then he would have said it on the come up. But he did it when he was on top already. Do you know what I'm saying? Man broke records.
But it's easier to say that when you're on the top. Actually, for me, how I look at it is because on the come up where you're still, because now remember, now you're popular, you're popping, you've got all these eyes and ears on you. We love you. If he says he's gay now and anyone has anything bad to say, like, bro, why leave the youth alone? Whereas in the hood, probably trying to do radio, trying to do on the come up, it would have been more of a struggle to be openly gay. 100%. That would have been harder. And in that community, because now you've got more of a support system with your Twitter, with social media, with all the eyes and ears on, you've got more of a support system.
It depends on the content of your music or the type of music that you're making. Like that, what he brings out, it doesn't appeal to the hood.
It's true.
Do you know what I'm saying? He's black, cool, but it doesn't necessarily
mean we rode for him because he was Billboard or trying to blackball him.
I didn't ride for him. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, cool. I'm like...
The weeds are in inverted commas, remember how I'm talking
it. Yeah, obviously. Like, I'm just saying that I'm sure that there's a lot of people that feel like me. I didn't really care for my man, innit?
Yeah.
I know that my daughter loves Old Town Road, innit?
Cool, yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
It's a nice unproblematic song for the kids.
Like, yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? I was like, all right, cool. It's a cool song.
I'd rather this than Baby Shark, do 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 Baby Shark.
Do you know what I'm saying? So like, I never really cared for him. I just saw this little black guy from wherever. I don't even know where he's from.
Yeah,
I don't know what city he's from. Whatever. I just know that he was. It was a Billboard issue initially.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? They said that he couldn't. Because this isn't classified as country.
And when I got Billy Ray Cyrus,
he went and got Billy
country
Ray Cyrus,
legend,
and then he did his thing. It's done records, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's why I say that maybe he was right in saying that. Cool. I revealed it whilst I was on top.
We respectively disagree.
So,
and my stance was strong on that. For me, I feel it's a lot easier in this space for him to come out.
Yeah.
Because there's more of a support system. There's more of a community. You are now more accepted. You're on and popping now in this space now. Even if people don't agree with the lifestyle, because of how visible it is, you can't say it in public that you don't.
That's right.
That's what I'm getting at. Right. Like on the come up, in the ends, imagine being a underground rapper. Obviously, it's different because he's not in that space. But imagine being in that space.
I'm only speaking from that perspective.
Yeah. But we're on the same page. I'm just saying that I respectfully disagree because I feel like, and I feel strongly that it is easier for him to come out in this space now because I don't feel he has much to lose. Where it's like, listen, if you don't fuck with me off this, cool, I've got my fan base, innit? Like,
bro, like you may feel strongly, I don't, innit? I'm just going off the back of what he said.
Yeah.
So I said that this is his reasoning as to why they asked him a question. Why did you feel like it was the time to say it? So whatever he said, I'm like, all right, cool. That makes sense to me, innit? Like, I don't...
No, I hear him as well because he's just trying to show that, yo, listen, there is no difference. I am who I am, innit? Like, And it wasn't even I think the internet made more of a fanfare out of it than he did. He just said, "This is who I am."
Yeah.
I think he made jokes like, "I was like a year ago I was it homeless or I was struggling and now I'm gay." I just love his humor. That's all. Like he didn't even he wasn't like this big song announced like press conference. I'm coming out as gay.
Yeah.
The internet made more of a thing out of it.
And he was like on the artwork there was like a little rainbow, and he was like, "How did you lot not clock?"
Yeah. Like he's been putting a message in there.
That's just his thing. I saw him on like BBC Breakfast in the morning, and he just walked across the screen like, and they're like,
I think that's what he's actually like.
He's
generally.
He's living his life,
man,
isn't
living his life. You know what I'm saying? So,
no, but I do hear what Daniel's saying as well. Like I think we may have to understand and accept the uncomfortability of like these conversations need to be had.
Yes, 100%.
And you're gonna get because what I don't like as well is there is the other side, like LGBT community and people that side with them, and then doing the whole your gaslighting or your whole toxic traits. None of you were born just super woke and understanding. Everybody everyone had to come to their level of understanding at a certain point where they didn't have homophobic thoughts.
I said this. We were at, I was at an event, and it was in regards to do with sexuality, and people were talking. There was a guy who was giving his opinion, blah blah blah, and I piped up and I said, you know, one thing you have to understand is a lot of us predominantly grew up in very, very strong religious backgrounds, so the stuff that you're hearing from people about how they might feel about sexuality and stuff like that, you have to remember they had learned that from very, very young. Yeah. To a point where as an adult, when they're now trying to unlearn it or trying to be more sensitive or try not to offend, this is you're essentially trying to teach an entire lifetime of something that people have not known any different. Fact. So in a sense, no, we're not going to accept homophobic quotes and stuff like that. That's different. Definitely. What we're talking about is when you're speaking to someone and you're trying to explain something, when they don't have an understanding, that actually isn't their fault. It's because if you look at the time span of how long we've had, we don't know anything different. Yeah. So when you're putting people in these spaces and saying, "Yo, this is who I am, or this is what I am," yes, I know how you're going to feel because, you know, this may be close to your heart and you're like, you know, how can I do this, how can I do that? But you've got to look at the total picture that actually what we're trying to do is change the narrative.
And what's mad is Kevin's in hospital with a broken back. Nigga can't even tweet to defend himself.
He can't even defend himself.
He's getting flogged online yet.
Man was in a major car accident, you know.
And man can't even tweet and say, "Hey guys, I didn't mean like that." Obviously when the full clip comes out, I hope we get a total, like a more rounded bit of conversation.
Is it not? Was that just like?
That's just a clip of what, like that was the promo of like of. Obviously they baited themselves like to promote the news episode of the shop. I
thought it was like it was already out there, but someone just highlighted that.
Nope.
You might be right because I haven't seen it in it, and I did try and go and look in it.
Bro, so, you know me, man.
You don't give a shit that much. Man doesn't care.
Come on, man.
I hear you though, but like I said, I moved on. I like that conversation, and like I like how he responded. It's like, like the devil's in DR. Don said, "Listen, if you're from the hood," so he's already has a strong rebuttal for Kevin going, "What do you mean? What do you mean?" Almost like, "Why'd you have to come out, bruv? I had to come out because where I come from, this wasn't accepted, innit? Yeah. I have to show like, yo, listen, this is normal." So we're fighting that battle, like we've already said about sexuality. Like on the other end, because there's this movement to eradicate those toxic traits.
And you know what it is
people
like,
going, there was almost like the common consensus, we accept this. What do you mean not accept it? On the other end, you've got people who are unlearning bad behaviors. It may take them longer than it took you.
And the thing is that like, I have no desire to ask someone about their choices that doesn't affect me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so if that's what man chose to do, so be it. I don't see like why I'm going to invite you and ask you why you chose to come out
and say
yeah. And that is true. I feel, and that's why
unless you have a problem with it.
Yeah.
Unless you have a problem with it.
Or you're feeding the beast that it is a conversation that's going to spark conversation outside of this, because it will do, and it's doing it right now, because at the end of the day, people do look, why'd you have to come and tell us? Because if we are, but the rebuttal is that if we accept it, I wouldn't have to tell you, because how I look at it is, we accept it from a legal standpoint. Morally, a lot of us do. Now, there is the murky water of religion.
I think there's a lot of people that don't more than people that do.
Of course, but in the open, a lot of people that
there's a lot of people that are screaming about, like, you know, in his defense,
bun this and bun that, and behind closed doors.
Behind closed doors, it's like, you know what I'm saying?
They're playing Bear Sizzler, put it that way, innit? Behind closed doors, innit? You know. So yeah, you got morality. I've got to hit them these bars, bro. So what I'm saying, my point was legality, morality. Obviously, there's a murky what was a religion, but those two, we've already accepted on that level. Yeah. Let people live their life. Like I'm with Vans. What anybody does in the sanctity of their bedroom with another mature, of age, consenting adult has nothing to do with me. It's none of my business. But also, if you had to live in a society where you get looked down upon and we almost dismiss you because of sexuality, who am I to tell you can't come out? Like, because it was also liberating because
there's an obsession with it. Like, even like where you feel like someone is, but they haven't confirmed themselves.
Yeah, people
like there's always like them little Chinese whispers. Oh, like have you heard it? Oh, like,
it's my man. Yeah,
it's my man. Like blah blah blah. Bruv, let man be who he is, innit? Like you don't even have to ask until he's ready to like.
This is it.
Until you got a birthday dinner and Donnie walks in with a tall Adonis beard, black brother.
It doesn't have to be that.
No. The one in the man them. Because that's the real truth, yeah. Even with Little Nas X, you're going, we don't, bro. It would mean more to you if it was like a greasy underground black big hench don, you know, like the super masculine don come out and that was a don that was gay. That would be more of a big talking point because it happened. What was it NFL or basketball?
One of the
Jason Collins. Do you remember the interview where A$AP Rocky stand next to him? He's like, you can be whatever you want to be, black, this, gay. Like it was, bruv, it's so funny, but no one didn't care because my man ain't popping. It needs to be someone that's on and popping, super masculine, super talented, and then everyone needs to be on the wave. Because Little Nas X is nice, unproblematic, and exists in country. It's not in hip hop or grime. Like there has to be that moment for the man to stand up and pay attention. And it's a shame, but that's the one we're gonna be like, okay, we're riding with that Donnie.
Yeah.
Or Donnie's music is so good, we don't have a problem. Look like Frank Ocean. We're like, fam, I don't care what you do. If you're a double dipper, do your thing. Man, don't care, bro.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and obviously you're gonna have like people that are gonna have something to say. It's the way of the world, isn't it?
Yeah,
like,
of course.
We cannot change that. Like, we just cannot.
Yeah.
So
we've got online some bad behavior. I hope this space does.
100%, bro.
Yeah,
like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't the person that I was like maybe 10 years ago. You know, it's certain things like it's a choice. At the end of the day, you choose to unlearn certain things.
Yeah.
And
if you're willing and you're genuinely open, the information's out there.
Some people don't want to learn. Some people don't want to unlearn. Do you know what I'm saying? I say do both. Learn and unlearn.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah,
I think that's the most important lesson. I think you what you're trying to. It's not even just about sensitivity and about offense, but it's also about understanding that there are people that are going to be in your personal space who have made these choices. You can't be oblivious because you're going to end up hurting someone by your own ignorance.
Yeah,
and
like,
also
you know what I mean?
like sometimes, man, only have your opinion when you're asked.
Yeah, it's
you know what I'm saying?
And to be honest, even when you are asked, just shut up.
Yeah, man are just
because sometimes you don't need your opinion, you know.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
we don't need it, man. Some man are just chatting on a whim, bro.
Yeah,
allow it.
I feel you, man. I invited H back in the room.
You know, I'm here. Obviously, since you're saying that, what I think is this, basically, that I don't think I have anything that I need to unlearn, but there's a lot I can learn, innit? Do you know what I mean?
I heard that.
Like, I wasn't born a woke Donnie. I would never refer to myself as that. But
because most of them woke niggas need a nap. Just saying.
You got to throw a little soundbite in there for something. Foles, I know he like that one. He's like, I'm going
to say it. Don't.
He's like, I'm saying this one today.
Don't put no sauce on that. Don't listen.
Now
I don't need no sauce.
Now you have to. You have to.
I don't need no sauce on that. It's cool, man. It's something like that's some of my best work. That's something like, man.
I've heard him say that before.
Come on, Vance. Come on, man. That's not an original thought. I just deliver it good. That's all. Back to what you were saying.
Delivery.
Yeah, for me personally, I don't think there's anything I need to unlearn right now. Do you know what I mean? I'm very happy with how I am and my understanding of things and how open my mind is, and I've always been like that. Do you know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm very aware of what I don't know. So I think we're at a point where it's weird because I believe that we're in a space where we respect people's opinions. And this is going to sound very outlandish, but at the same time, maybe even too much. And that comes from a place where we don't have to give every single person a moment of our time.
Facts.
Do you know what I mean? It's like always respect everybody, but the idea that I can't walk into a place and be like, all right, cool, let me listen to every single person's thought. That's unrealistic for me to take every single person's viewpoint and everything into account, because then where does my understanding as an individual take precedent over anything else?
But then how do you pick and choose whose words are of value?
what matters to me, because I'm a person. Do you know what I mean? It's not about what's right or wrong in it, because right or wrong is just a perspective. Realistically, it just comes from the place where it's like, this is what I believe, this is what I know I don't know, this is what I know I do know, and what I want to pick up in it, and whatever works will kind of show and tell in the end. Do you know what I mean?
If man's a waffler, eventually be like, listen, I don't need to listen to you. That Donny in the corner, he preaching.
Like for example, if someone's waffling, I don't have to be the person to say he's waffling because of X, Y, Z. Or if he is, it will show.
It's a tough one because, bruv, there's loads of false prophets and people that end up getting platforms off chatting shit, and misinformation is running the game right now. So sometimes,
when wasn't it though? The question is, when wasn't it, bro?
No, it's definitely dominant now.
Social media is heightening it.
Has heightened it.
Do you know what? It's because
everyone you're right. Maybe it's a lot more visible. So because everyone's got this, everyone has the same level of access at the very least, innit? Regardless of your following, where I can just put my camera on and start talking and create a channel and do this, or start typing or do this, and then before you know it, however small it is, that audience grows, and then that gets shared on the Facebook, on here, and do you know what my man is?
And also,
before you know it, that person now has a certain level of influence, power. So man has to call them Donnies out if they're chatting shit.
And also, you gotta know that, or you gotta realize that, if you say anything with enough conviction, a lot of people run with it.
Yeah, do you mind people run with
people waffle with
but
conviction?
Who's to blame for that though? Realistically, it can't be the Don that's saying stuff. I can say something right now. Like, you know what?
Yeah. I mean,
Age is right, brother. Don't blame me because I got a little bit of flair, man.
That's a lot of politicians come up by waffling with conviction.
I think the responsibility falls to both parties. It's the responsibility.
It's split. It's definitely split.
Yeah,
and it's the person that's
because even like with what you were saying there, you don't feel like you need to unlearn anything. Someone will come and tell you that you're wrong.
Who's that person?
That's my whole point.
There's a lot of people that will tell you that you're wrong.
OFFTHECUFFPOD and letting you know that H needs to unlearn.
They don't know you from nowhere, but
let them come say it to my face. Unless they say they're gonna headbutt me, I'm not hearing it. Yeah? That's it. I learned that one today. You understand?
Everyone pointed down. The headbutt champion.
This is what I'm saying. But this is what I'm saying. Like we can't. I understand. Like, I'm a very open-minded person, innit? But the idea that you have to take everybody into account all of the time is an unrealistic expectation for an individual.
Fam, you see what I'm saying? Time.
But I'm not even an online person, so when you lot say things more time, I'm like to myself, brother, I can't even take that into account.
I do rate you because in a moment he'll process stuff. Like, we would have had maybe like a day or two or a week, however long stuff's happened on social media. I'll tell H in a moment and expect a response like that, and he'll give me something, and I'm like, you know what? I can only rate that because you're giving it off what you just know now. Maybe later, if you go and do more research, you're like, you know what? Then you could give me more.
You know what that is that like you're he's taking something in with a clear mind. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? Like he hasn't seen influence. There's no conflicting views. Like he hasn't seen anything that's opposed to anything else. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like when you ask someone about something that 100 people have spoken about,
you don't even know if they're original.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you can get warped into like thinking a million different things, and it's taking you away from your original thought process. So it's just like in most parts, that's the best way to do it.
I'll tell you something. I'm gonna whatever I'm gonna say right now, I'm gonna paraphrase it because I don't remember the quote exactly in it. And it's gonna turn it's little dark context, but the message will be the same. It's that you don't know the Golden Gate Bridge, yeah? So on that bridge, a lot of people committed suicide on that bridge. And I watched a documentary on it, and the idea was that a lot of people found themselves, a lot of people were committing suicide on this bridge, and they were trying to find out why people always went to that spot. And one of the quotes during that documentary was that a lot of people, I'm going to get it wrong, I can't remember exactly what it was, but essentially a lot of people are somebody else. So it went from one person doing that to people doing that because it became the thing or the place to go.
Bridge
you see what I'm saying? And it's the idea that it's not a filtered thought. It's a thought that is now, this is where I'm supposed to go. Without the original person that went there would have had their reasons, and now people are just emulating that idea. And it's the same thing what you're saying. It's like when you're speaking, you ask me these questions, even when you're speaking about that Jay-Z thing earlier. I don't know the whole context, so I only speak on what I've heard and make it very clear. I'm only speaking on this 30 seconds, innit?
Right.
I might hear 5 seconds after or 5 seconds before that change my entire viewpoint, but based on what I've seen and what I've heard, I'm going to give you my understanding. And I say it all the time, I want to leave this planet being exactly who I came here as. Do you see what I'm saying? I don't want this world to turn me into something that I'm not, because it's very easy to happen, or very easy to take place, because you feel like you have to fit a certain criteria, or the only way to get by is to be like this. Do you know what I mean? Or it's like, if I'm a little bit colder to people, I can get to this point. Or if but I don't want to do that. Do you know what I mean? And I always push that more so than anything else. I want to be exactly who I was when I was a toddler, and the core of my being, innit? That's who I want to be. I'm obviously not going to be dribbling and running around chasing little fucking colouring blocks and that. But the idea that you are exactly who you are when you got here, innit? Do you know what I mean? Everything else is going to mold you into a being, but you are still you. And that's exactly how I want to leave. So that's why I like to have the most unfiltered thought whenever I have the opportunity.
Because a lot of us like still have like characteristics from when we were very young.
100%.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and obviously everything that we learn going forward just enhances on that.
Yeah.
Like, and sometimes like we lose sight of our core because of so many things that go on in the world.
Niggas trying to keep up with the gram, man.
Bruv, and like you were saying, about everyone going to that particular bridge. Everyone does stuff like in pattern form. Even like the methods that we know of how people commit suicide. Yeah. Like, it's things that we've heard before. Like people jumping off a bridge, people hanging, people taking pills. These are things that have been done time and time again, in it. Like, people just see that as a thing. Like, how many times do we hear people throwing themselves in front of a train? Do you know what I'm saying? There's not just one person that does it and then you never hear of it again.
Yeah, it's like the point you're both making is someone's done it before. Other people say that's the one to do, and I'll do that. But not to end on that sober one. There is a time where we see good stuff happening when people are following stuff, and like we've done.
Yeah, man. Know? Do you know what I'm saying? Follow off the cuff as well, man. RT that.
Shameless plug.
Bruv.
Shameless? Nigga ain't shameless over here. Bruv, plug away.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Plugsville.
RT that, cuz.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying?
RT that, innit? Yeah. I'm with Vans, man.
Yeah.
Listen, all I want to say, man, is a massive thank you.
Yes.
And a big up to every single person, whether that's a retweet, just a recommendation, commenting, liking, subscribing,
a high in carnival,
all of that. High in carnival, seeing us out at events and saying hello,
just anywhere,
sliding in the DMs, all the stuff. Like, I can't complain, man.
Nigga said what?
I hear that.
Is this on?
Hey, seriously, see that clip?
Is this on?
Turn that into a GIF or a GIF or whatever that is.
This nigga's on me. Hey, you see, I just let it land. Niggas started doing admission of guilt. I didn't say nothing, bro. I didn't say a word.
I was just like,
listen, all I'm saying is, you know what you said about Kevin Hart, where Kevin Hart came out with some truth even though he was drunk? I'm just telling you, that's the truth, isn't it? Someone's been sliding to someone. That's what I'm saying, isn't it?
I hear that.
Keep sliding.
Hey, man, keep sliding.
Listen, we're saying, man, another 200, yeah? You can do it.
Yeah, man.
You can sit side by side with me and listen to phones just be fucking nuts every week.
Bro, I've done it for too long, man.
Man said I'm numb. I'm numb to it.
I'm in severe pain.
Bruv, it's been a fantastic journey, man.
I bring joy to your life, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, maybe.
I guess.
I guess.
Yeah.
Ish. Dan, I want to say thank you for coming down.
Thank you.
Yes,
We'll definitely have you back as well.
Yeah, man.
No, I just wanted you to come down.
We want some
join our
shoots as well,
conversation.
and some free photos. And that.
Say what?
You shot your shot with my man. He's shooting his shot. He said he wants free.
Yeah,
what?
man. What? Listeners, RT that, innit? Maybe we'll do it then.
Bring me rum.
That's a fair exchange, isn't it?
I think that's a fair exchange, isn't it?
Cool.
Lovely.
No. Listen, give them the socials again. Let them know where they can find you, follow you, interact with you.
So it's DB Captures. That's DB Captures. Take out the A and add a X. I'm on Twitter and Instagram. And for like anything photography wise, it's DB Captures with an A. That's my site. I'm also on Instagram. And I'll be vlogging this NSG tour. There's loads of stuff coming up. I'll start back the channel tomorrow. Yeah, it's going to be a really good year, man. It's going to be a really good year.
That's lovely, man. That's dope.
As always, a good honest conversation, never hurt anyone.
Come on.
Listen, I've been false forever.
Mr. Vans.
It's been Daniel. DB Captures, baby.
Peace.